In the previous episode, Ben Begay identified 3 key constraints to continued growth of the lumber company. Reasonably, he probably should have noticed this one. That said, in the previous episode, a new high school was constructed, a new rail terminal was added, and over 1,000 residents moved into the community. However, more will be needed if the industry is to continue its expansion. Though the town of Couillard and Couillard Shores have made strides towards resolving the population issues, the communities have been struggling to deal with fire issues and have decided to reject expansion until they are brought under control. Russ Kowalski of Kowalski Home Builders in Escanaba Superior has caught wind of the growth in the Nicolet Bay area. And with how slow things have been in Escanaba, he decides to expand his operations and set up shop in the town of Evergreen, where he'd like to help fulfill this need. The town board says they'll find a way to get to yes on any development he brings them, and he settles in to get building. Today, we're going to build Evergreen, which will have a mix of residential and expansion of the lumber industry. But first, if you're enjoying this series, please hit the like button, and if you aren't subscribed, please consider doing so. And if you think you know what's going to happen to this tree, please drop an emoji letting me know. It really does help increase the reach of the video. Without any further ado, let's jump right in. Hello, welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are building the town of Evergreen in Nicolet Bay. And as excited as I am to get started with today's build, I feel like we need to address the elephant in the room. And maybe it's not even an elephant, maybe it's more like a T-Rex. That is the fires. So this is something that I asked you about at the end of the previous video, and the response that was overwhelmingly addressed in the comments was just turn off the mechanic or mod it out. That said, there were a number of you that said I'd really like to see you solve this, or your builds wouldn't feel like your builds if the fires were turned off. And that got me thinking, what could I do to address this? So before we get building, I want to address the fires a little bit. So there were a number of comments that suggested that I go ahead and go into our policies menu and enable the smoke detector distribution policy. We're not going to do that. Here's why. We're currently losing money. So if I enable this smoke detector distribution policy at 5 cents a building, this costs $3,500 for the entire community, and we will go bankrupt in 10 minutes. I know this because I've tried. So we are not going to do that. What we are going to do is look at my mistakes and my flaws. And here's our biggest one that I've made, and that's right here. Look what I've done. I've turned down the fire budget. No wonder we're having raging wildfires. We're not fully funding our fire department. So generally, I've gone through here and tried to balance the budget, and I've done so with really bad results. So this is going to impact our property values. It's going to impact what we're building. I built that water treatment facility in the previous episode, and maybe I didn't need to. Maybe if I would have just adjusted the budget to balance it, we would have been fine. Or not balance it, but raise it to 100%. There's one other thing, and this was recommended as well. So we're going to go into our options and look at our disaster frequency. So in our gameplay menu, if we come here, we can see that my random disaster frequency is not all the way down. It's pretty close, but it's not all the way down. I generally keep it here, but we'll keep it here for Nicolet Bay, and hopefully that calms things down. So we're going to let this play out. We're going to hope that I think our high school survived the fire. We should be okay. So we're going to just let it be. And we're going to build. We're going to build and not think about it for the time being. So this is going to be the town of Evergreen, and I'm very excited to get started here. What we're going to do is build out our industrial area right along the coast and build some residential back here, and eventually extend out this way towards the edge of the map. And I believe that's heading west. So let's start right here. We're going to put our contours on because we have a little bit of a ridge here. And I think that that ridge is going to be very beneficial for us. It's going to help us figure out exactly how close to the shore we can get and still have developable land. So I don't want to go too far and need to terraform the coast. I actually think that that's too close. With our industrial buildings, they're going to be bigger, maybe 5 units or so. So why don't we pull it back to here? And I added this road. This is a temporary connection for us. I really just wanted the grid line to appear so that we could have a nice pattern here. And then we're going to go again. I'll create that node there. And again, I'm just making a guideline for myself. There we go. Now from here, we can just use our road guidelines. I'm going to just extend that out, connect this up. And we've got trees all over the place. It's really difficult to see what's going on. I think we're just going to remove all the trees in this area, knowing that we're going to develop this today anyway. We'll add them back at the end, and then you can see what I'm doing rather than guessing because I'm not showing it to you. So there we go. Now we're going to have our crossroad here. I'm going to turn anarchy on. And I'm okay with this angle right here. I might actually even keep this road as a road that is a road of importance in our community. And then the same thing here. So we had a 30-degree angle. I think we're going to mirror that. We'll go with that. All right. So maybe I'm getting a little bit too picky here, but I really want to be thoughtful and careful with what we're doing here. So now I have this road here that's crossing the railroad tracks. I think we need to call a mulligan there. And the main reason is I not only is this about circulation through here, but it's also about connectivity to this future industrial area that we're going to have right here. And that's going to be an extension of our forestry industry. So let's go ahead and actually extend that over. So we are going to make a little tail of our industry and just pull it along the coast here. Now, this is a location for a forestry industry that feels very natural to me. So growing up in central and northern Wisconsin, you'd routinely see this, and part of it was that logs would get floated down the river or in the water, easiest form of transportation. So we are going to have that here as well, and maybe they're floating some of these logs over back in the day. Now, of course, it's not happening like that, but that's okay. This is where these land uses are still found primarily. So the thing I want to focus on now is paper production. So that's this biomass pellet plant. So we do not have a lot of money. In fact, we can only build one of these. I don't even know that we can build a warehouse for it. So we're going to build our one plant and hope for the best. And even though I tried to get this to be far enough out to not drop into the water, it looks like we still have that problem, which is unfortunate, but fine. So we'll place that here, and then we're going to terraform out a bit. Woo, that looks bad. That looks really bad. Okay, and now I know I'm going to see comments saying that City Planner was carefully grading his land while his city went into ruins and bankruptcy because he was way too focused on this. And you're right, I am. But to me, it's a lot of fun getting that just right. We need some water pipes underneath the road here, right where they belong. You can see we're so close. Woo! With every water pipe, we become ever closer to being bankrupt. But you know what? We're going for it. We're going for it. And then we need a warehouse. And I think that we've got to ensure that this warehouse has cover. So it can't be this warehouse yard. It has to be the small warehouse, which is $8,000. So it's unfortunate that we have no money. I mean, it always is unfortunate when you have no money. But I think we're going to have to do something and just kind of roll with the punches. So what we're going to do is add in a road here. This is going to be the start of our little community. And I like this. Right here, we've got 11 units in between. We're going to continue to go with that. Whew, you know you are the struggle when you don't have enough money to build a dirt road. But that's where we're at. Let's go ahead, we'll build our infrastructure. And at this point, what we're seeing is that Russ is struggling. He's building all of this infrastructure up front. Even though it's dirt roads and water pipes are expensive. So is the sanitary sewer. And right now, he is just carrying the cost of this. So this would be absolutely challenging. I can't understate or overstate that enough. This would be an absolute difficult lift for him to be able to carry all of this cost. So there we go. We're not going with much of anything besides some residential here, and we're going to let this fill in just a little bit. Now, the unfortunate thing is it's filling in from this end, which means that we might need to kickstart this with a power line. I'm going to let it go for a minute and see if our development comes this way. If it doesn't, we'll add a power line right along the side here. And it is not satisfied with us right now. It's very unhappy. Temporary power line time. We'll place that right here. And that should get everything else flowing this way and hopefully get the power to jump. Whew, boy, the industry is really in a tough spot right now. And that is a part of that is our lack of a storage for our paper. That certainly makes the trips longer here and everything's less efficient as a result. We also just don't have a lot of employees here. Part of that's being remedied as we build out this little community right here. But as this community fills in, its needs are going to grow. So we're going to have a lot of things to address. So it's not just saving up $8,000 to be able to afford a warehouse. We've got schools, we've got a lot of things, parks, things that we have to take care of. But at least we have this. And sometimes it's about the small victories. So we're going to take this one. And there we go. Let's get this set up and we will store paper here. And that is going to be a huge help for us. So now rather than this needing to take everything and bring it over here, hopefully it'll have a bit of synergy. We've got a progression here, which is really, really helpful. Okay, so now we're progressing in a much better direction. So the biggest need that we have in our community is commercial need, which is not surprising. We should start thinking about the center of our community here, because people aren't generally satisfied living in a community that has no amenities available to them. It's just a place to sleep. I mean, there are bedroom communities, but we can do better. Okay, so there are some tight junctions right here. I don't know that this is going to work. We may need to address that in the future, but for the time being, I'm quite pleased with how it's turning out. So I think our little community town square, we're going to have that around this area. So that's going to change the way that we look at this. And it's unfortunate that we have a lot of our city services over there, but our little commercial district is going to be right along here. Let's level this out, put our contour lines, and our strength is all the way up, but our brush size is so small, nothing's happening. So what we're going to do here is create an opening to the waterfront. I think that in a downtown sort of area, in a place that is dedicated to the public, having an opening to the waterfront is incredibly valuable. So we are going to come through here and take a look at what is going to work best for us. We have a couple of options. We could go with something like this, a plaza with trees. It's not a bad option. Why don't we check out what that would look like? That to me feels like an appropriate place to have some businesses around there. And then you have seating. You could take a look at the water. And I think it would be a good thing. So we're going to go with that. And we'll send a road around this as well. So that opens up the opportunity for us to develop some of our buildings around here. And this is off ever so slightly. I might try to fix that. And I might just make things worse, so I could always move the buildings after the fact if that's something that we want to do. Okay, hold up. This is Phil from the future, and I have some really bad news. We already knew that Phillip with 2 L's had taken a liking to Nicolet Bay, but would you believe that this creep is already in the town of Evergreen? I guess where there's a password to steal, there's always a Phillip. So how do you protect yourself from creeps like Phillip? By getting NordVPN, which provides a fast and secure internet connection wherever you are in the world. NordVPN has over 5,500 super fast servers worldwide that can help you create a private, secure, safe browsing experience so that cyber snoops like Phillip will not be able to steal your personal info. But wait, there's more! NordVPN can also make the internet more fun, allowing you to access region-locked content by giving you the ability to change your internet location in seconds. Did you know that in Germany they replaced Big Bird with this bear named Samson? I didn't either until I got NordVPN. If all of this sounds good to you, head to nordvpn.com/cityplanner for a great deal on NordVPN that includes a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/cityplanner. I am going to add some water pipes in the couple of places that we don't have them. Okay, so we're calling a mulligan on this block right here, and what this is going to be our little Evergreen City Park. And I think it's nice to have that within here. So we've got this plaza space here that's going to be beneficial for us, but having a larger green could be a place for concerts, could be a place where families congregate. I think that that's going to be really valuable for this community in the future. With that, we're also going to add some paths behind this to provide a little bit of separation and a buffer between the commercial and the residential uses. I think that would be really valuable and something that would be viewed very positively in the community. And then we'll extend these uses back. That's funny. We have our police department way over here. Oh, we're burning again. But we're still experiencing some prisoner issues. Or some crime issues, not prisoner issues. We've got no problems with prisoners. All the prisoners that you could want, because we have issues. Oh, wow. Everything burnt down, including, oh my goodness. How are we making any money? Wow. Okay. Well, that's really frustrating. I think that this might have been a failed experiment, but we're not gonna become defeated. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna roll with the punches. We'll reset some of these things. And here's the thing. I'm not even sure if this is a new fire or the fires from the end of last episode that are still going on. I have a sneaking suspicion that it's still those old fires. We've also got our looping still occurring, which is a problem for us that we're going to have to resolve. So we've got a number of small things. Maybe the traffic issue in general we'll deal with in the next one. So we do have a little bit of money now. Not a lot. And it makes me want to take a look at our emergency services to see where we're at with our fire coverage. And you can see it's pretty bad. So what we're going to do is think about adding one more firehouse. So this is going to be a rural one. I'm going to speed this up until we have enough money to build this, which should be shortly. And I'm impatient. I'm tired of this. So we are going to just take out a loan. So here's what we're going to do. Two things. We're going to build this firehouse, and it's going to be right on this main drag that we have here. If we take a look, it'll be near the elementary school. I don't think I would love this if I were living there, but at the same time, you've got to be safe. Actually, we'll take our refund. We'll add in one of these smaller new firehouses. That's going to look great. Oh, wow. That is a great little firehouse. I love that. And it's a lot cheaper too. And that makes me think. We'll do the exact same thing with our police station. Okay, it's kind of weird to have the gravel going all the way around it, but it's even weirder to just kind of have the building floating out there with cars randomly coming out of it. So we're going to go with that and see if that does the trick for us. So in terms of our coverage, let's see what that does for us. We're okay up here now. We're a lot better. We were all red everywhere, and this is a significant improvement. Look at our new area, just absolutely brutal. The other thing I want to do is look at our fire watchtowers and start to improve our coverage. We have one right here. We got one over here. We're going to also add one over here. And I think even in this area, we could add one. We'll put it slightly up the hill, just inside the city limits, and that'll spend all of our money. But look at what that does for fire coverage over here. And we've got one more spot near the high school that could desperately use one. And as soon as we have enough money, we're putting one more. These things are incredibly expensive. I guess a 9,000 isn't incredibly expensive, but it feels like it right now this early in the game. And you can see that has improved our fire coverage here. So sometimes you just got to talk yourself off the cliff, not get overly concerned and frustrated, and give yourself the space to think a little bit. So here we need to find a way up, and I don't want that too close to the school, or you can bet that there are going to be some kids that are going up there I guess when they're skipping class. And, who knows what they're up to. Maybe we'll even use our self-leveling trails here. And this is going to be a little bit of a challenge getting up here. And there we go. We have a path up here. Looking very good. We've got one more to put over here. And this is going to be an interesting one because the road actually doesn't connect up. It's just really for our own aesthetic benefit, but I want to keep it anyway. I think it's good to have. And there we go. There we go. And I think for the first time in a while, we don't have any fires. We don't have any fires at all. So I'm feeling good about that. And when we look at our industry, got a little bit of money, but we can do even better. So right here, it looks like we are doing okay from a worker standpoint. Wow. Look at this traffic though. This is one gigantic cul-de-sac because we haven't provided any additional outlets. So this right here would likely be a very important road in the community. And we're going to make this the arterial connecting in here. I don't know what its problem is, but it's very unhappy. I think it can't determine whether this should be at grade or not. So we just solved the problem for the game. There we go. No longer a cul-de-sac. You got some options. You don't have to go here now, but apparently everyone wants to. And look at our residential demand. It is through the roof, which is both exciting and terrifying because we are just really going to struggle to meet that level of demand with the amount of space that we have available right now. So what we're going to do is try to improve this land to get more households in here. Right now, you can see we got 2 households in some of these. If we improve our land values by adding parks and things of that nature, we're going to see our density in this area go up. I also want to add another factory, and it's interesting to me that we don't have enough raw materials. They're right here. They're right here. Just put them over here. Just move them. They're right. Don't take this road. Come here. That's where you get them. We're just gonna try to live with this. All right. I'm gonna add one more biomass pellet plant over here. Although I think we're gonna try to add 2 eventually. Although, could we get away with this? I think that we could if we get really tricky. So I'm gonna hold down Alt and just slide this stuff over and see how tricky I can get with this. Oh, look at that. I got it all to fit in here. That is nice. So with this, again, now we don't have enough raw materials, but we've got this warehouse right in the center. Looking good. Looking good. All right, let's start thinking about some of our city services that we would need here. So we have our police and fire coverage over here. Elementary schools might be warranted. Our high school is our high school. We absolutely could use some elementary schools, though. Think about where these kids would have to travel. There's no bus, and they'd have to go all the way over here or up there. That's not going to happen. It's that one over there. That is their elementary school. So we're going to place an elementary school over here, and I'd really love to not use eminent domain. And I don't want to place it along the railroad tracks. That's not safe. So we've got this area right here, which is right by the factories, which stinks. Probably literally, and it figuratively stinks as well. But that's where we're going to place it. And then we'll have the playground right here as well. So we're going to need to do something about this. Because that's not great. We don't want kids. There's a lot of traffic here, number one. Number two, it's just not a very nice place to be. So we're going to try to block some of this off. We'll have this forestry fence through here, and we're going to need to upgrade this road. It's a noisy industrial road. And this is fascinating. I don't know what's going on. It's like I'm above or below, but I'm not seeing my fences. And I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what is conflicting here, but something definitely is a problem. And would you see this? What is this? There's something weird right here. I'm going to just delete this. I don't know what that was, but it was causing all sorts of problems. Either way, it's gone now, and I think that is why I was struggling with my fence. The school has a bit of privacy and some buffering from the factories. So that's not doing enough. We're going to build our park right here, and we're just going to have a nice small little city park through here. So let's go ahead and paint a small park area. We can even shrink this up. We know that is not going to be in our factory district anymore. And this is so small, we're just going to use our small city park entrance. And I'm going to place a couple of these. And I know that was pretty haphazard. The reason why it was so haphazard is we are going to place these manually, line them up, make them look nice, try to find our center here as well. So I'm curious, if I come through here and I unlock this. Okay, so I've got this more or less where I want it to be, but I do want to look at this, and you can tell that it is off just a bit. So what we're going to do is move this over, and I wonder, it might actually be easier just to take a look at this right here. So now with move it, I can figure out that center. Now we can connect this up. Okay. You might wonder, what does this really do for me? It's just an aesthetic choice. There's nothing besides that. It's just something that for me feels good. Now for the plaza, I'm curious. We come through. This is what I really would like to do. I don't think it's going to allow me to do this very easily. But let's see. How mad does it get? Are we going to see a bunch of issues? The other thing I want to do is get rid of the lights on the path. So I'll just do it through here. We're just going to make our default for these concrete paths to not have lights. So I've gone through here And this is in our network skins. We're just coming through and removing these. I want to be able to add the lights on our own. There we go. And it's interesting. It's not having problems with this. So that tells me that we can do a couple of things. So I want to see where this person walks. Do they walk right through the center of this? Indeed they do. So let's get that fixed. I'm going to pull that off to the side for a minute, and then we'll select this again, and we're going to draw around this. There we go. And now they're walking through trees on here, but you know what? I'm a lot more okay with that. Yeah, that's nice. That's about as good as we could hope for. So we could also move this up or down so that it doesn't look like they are sinking into it. And that's about the right height, I believe. Now this little girl is having a good time playing right on this little plaza. That is nice. That is really nice. This is the way that I've always wanted this to function. So we could get even more funky with this and go into move it, grab our paths. Now I'm only grabbing our segments, and the purpose of that is now I can bend this to go around. Same thing here. There we go, and we've done something really special with this vanilla asset now. Look at that. She walks around and she exits. Oh, it works. It works. It works. It works. I really, really like that. I'm really excited by that. I'm sorry if you are not. But if you are like me, then I'm glad that we are on the same page because this is awesome. Now, we could add a few more things in here, but truthfully, I don't even think it needs that much more. This is so great. What we're going to add through here, I think, is going to be some food trucks. And I don't even know that we add them. We could add them right on top of here. Make this even more useful. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love this so much. We are doing some special things here. We are making this a special place. So it's sinking a little bit, but I think we're going to roll with it. And over here at our other little plaza, I think we're going to do something very similar. So we have some new food trucks available to us. This is part of our Plazas and Promenades DLC. And let's give folks a place to come and eat. I don't love that one that's not open. We'll grab an ice cream stand and make that a part of this. There we go. Now this is a lot more special. I also want to add some fences around here. I know that, maybe it's not totally necessary, but this little park is the pride and joy of the community. And I think that they would really look to ensure that the grass is well maintained. And part of that would be the parks, the fences rather. There we go. Now this is the town of Evergreen. Oh, I absolutely despise that this tall building popped up there. And this one too. And this and this. We are going to start making some of these historical so that we don't level up. Oh, I absolutely hate it. Please stop. Please stop. We don't need the density. Go. Go. We're going to play whack-a-mole. I will get rid of anyone who decides to level up. Try me. Try me. Historical. Historical. Not historical. Over here. Historical. Historical. Maybe we'll keep one. At least this looks classy. Central Hotel. I'm okay with that. And we've got to have our bookstore. Some Fry Guys, which is great because I actually went to Five Guys tonight and it's backwards. Oh, it's not backwards. It's facing this road over here. It just looks backwards. Advertising the tasty noodles to the neighborhood. I'm sure that they are very impressed. That is something. I actually dealt with a project. It was a very classy self-storage, one of those multi-story self-storages. And that was one of the things that the neighborhood was concerned about, is that with this gigantic wall of a building, there was a concern that they would advertise the self-storage to the neighborhood, which is who they wanted their customers to be anyway. So definitely a concern, and that's why you have sign ordinances. This would not be okay. It would not be okay at all. All right. So we've got a couple of other things that I think we should place down here, some city serving uses. I'm going to move the wine and liquor because I like it. And we are going to put in a post office. So let's make that historical. And I'm going to add that and we will move some things around. That is the joy of mods. Oh, and there we go. You No. All right. And we'll make the liquor store butt right up against the post office like it's the same building. I love that. I love that. There we go. So with that, this community is really starting to see some improvement, but its park is seeing no trees. So I think that we need to improve that. And because this is evergreen, I want to have one really nice evergreen tree. This will be the evergreen, the one that the city was named for. And we'll place that there with a very classy park bench and a little path going up to it. An imaginary path, because it absolutely looks terrible. I don't know if I could, yeah, all of that's not going to work. So people can walk across the grass. That's going to be fine. And then through here, I almost wish that these gates were in a little bit. So on the outside, we could line this with some flowers. I think, even though it's going to be quite a project, well, not quite a project, but you know what I mean. We're going to go for it. Now let's just have a dense row of flowers along here. Now, it could be really easy and tempting to just forego all of this and to not think about it and just build your city as quickly as possible. And I really think that if you're doing that, you're really doing yourself a disservice, because I think some of the most fun parts of the game are really diving into the weeds and thinking about what your city would feel like at the pedestrian level. And I know I don't dive down to the pedestrian level, but most of the decisions that I'm making them thinking about what it would be like at the pedestrian level. So think about that as you're placing these things. What would it feel like? What would it feel like? Okay, now through here, I'm going to add just a couple of really large trees that would add a presence through here. Let's just move these through here and make them natural pieces of this park. And let's just add the evergreens as kind of our showstoppers through here. And there we go. I don't think we need much more than that. I think sometimes less is more. And this is one of those situations where less is more. What we do need more of, though, is paved roads. So, and the other thing is I really want to get us to this next milestone, 5,500. So we have been making money, which is good. I think we could target just a little bit of density, just a little bit, one building or two, not a lot. So we're going to have our big building and we'll place a couple actually. I'm going to immediately make these historical. So I want a little bit of density, but I don't want it to be overwhelming. And even in the smallest towns, you'll sometimes see a 4-story building. That's not too much. In fact, in the town that I grew up in, there was one condo tower. It was kind of a senior living condominium. Two of them, actually, now that I think about it. And they must have been 10 stories tall. They were clearly the tallest buildings in town. And there was a very utilitarian purpose for it. It was for elderly people. So sometimes you will see a couple of buildings like that, even in a small town. And that has added a decent amount of population here. Got 10 households, so that is definitely helpful. And I didn't continue playing whack-a-mole and making some of these buildings historical. And as a result, we've ended up with some tall buildings. I think we're going to let this one live. We'll let you live. The only one. Then because of how valuable this land is, I'm adding in one more of these residential buildings. And that is absolutely, yeah, look at that, filled in immediately. So now I want to go through and we're going to upgrade this. We're going to add some more homes along the railroad tracks and then a tree buffer in between. These are going to be smaller homes. We're going to space them out a little bit. They're going to fill in right away. And they're going to be very, very important to the community's growth. Not the most desirable land, but it will be important nonetheless. And I got rid of our power lines there so we could see our entire zoning grid again. Okay, and I had collision off for all of this, and for one good reason, and that was I didn't want to destroy any buildings. So all of that said, we may have some trees popping through, so it's not bad to look through, particularly in this area where we've done a lot. So you can see that, oh, that's unfortunate. We didn't go quite far enough back. So we can fix this. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be perfectly fine. We'll come through and we're going to select only our trees, and we can highlight these. We'll pull them back into the fence. So it's not perfect. They're growing through the fence, but I'm okay with it. It's almost like they're climbers, and I like it. I think this would be a very pleasant place to live, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. You've got a lot of things within walking distance. You've got employment, you've got commercial activities, you've got apartments by the water with excellent views of the water. You've got this place that is open. You can throw a frisbee. You can admire the water in the fountain. It's a really nice place to live, and you've got a school. The school's not in the greatest location, but it is going to be just fine. We're going to add in some homes along here. I think we're going to start down here, and we'll go and we'll have some 3-unit homes. We'll space them appropriately. So I was going to use our fence trick here, and then I realized I have the ability to disable zoning. We'll just disable zoning along this road. Now we're good. All right, we've got a little bit more to add here. And this is going to get pretty loud, so we'll add a couple here, but not too many. The spacing is just a little bit off. So we will need to deal with that. Maybe I'll just drag these over once they fill in. So this is getting us ever so close. We're going to add in a row of evergreens right along here. The reason we're adding evergreens is all throughout the year, this will provide buffering from the rail track. So that is definitely a consideration when you're thinking about landscaping. Think about the way it's going to be year round. Now, granted, in this build, we are not switching seasons, but this is in an area where it is cold. So with that said, during a significant portion of the year, 4 or 5 months, you're not going to have any sort of buffering from the train. And you have a whole bunch of residential uses there. So something like this with maybe something underneath it as well. So you might want to think about the understory sort of tree around it as well, or a bush. That's providing that separation and that sound dampening. And that's absolutely important. The other thing you could do that would be, I guess from the standpoint of the rail operator, probably very, very helpful would be to add in a fence. We're having power issues. Let's take a look at that. Interesting. Our electrical availability appears to be okay. We're right on the edge. Our production's just a little bit above it, which is not good. That said, now that we have moved this water plant over here, we do have the ability to just clone this and have a little power complex. So that's what we're going to do. Right there, use up a bunch of money, and we've solved all of our power problems. Hopefully. There we go. We've not solved our garbage problems. In fact, we've created new ones, so we're going to need to solve that as well. But I do want to finish this. And I do think beyond this, we're going to go one step further, and that is we are going to add a fence here. So let's go ahead, and we're going to add this in front of the trees. No. We'll add the trees in the yard. Now, the big question here is who maintains this fence? Because you might just assume that it is the rail operator or it is the homeowner. This could be the city or the town, which in a town would be very challenging. Are they honestly going to maintain this? Probably not, if we're being completely honest with ourselves. And I got our bushes through there. Oh, I've got to fix those. Okay, so I'm using the picker inside of Move It to select only the wild hedge so that I'm not also picking up those trees. And now I can just scoot those back just a little bit. So that might seem like a big job, but it's actually not that bad. You just got to think about how you're approaching it, and you're probably going to be just fine. There we go. And the reason we did that is now in these backyards, if you're going to struggle and have the train behind you, at least now that feels like a nice backyard. I wouldn't mind, being in that backyard for a while, hanging out. It's just a much more humane environment in my estimation. So we've got the sound protected. We've got the children protected. We have this feeling more like a neighborhood area. And you get on this side and you see that actually there's a train track there. So it's certainly a better solution in my mind. Now we are so close with our population. I think we're going to come over here and beef up our population as well. We can add in our 1 or 2 tall buildings. So let's come here and we're gonna go to the downtown area and redevelop just a couple of buildings. And let's see what we get here. I'm very, very, very curious. It looks like what we get is these buildings aren't going away. So look at our zones again, and I'm just going to get rid of these buildings. And again, we're going to make these historical. We don't want them to get any bigger than this. We'll get some density in our downtown area, and that's about it. We don't want to go with a 10-story building, so this is a way to prevent that. Even this one right here, that one might be on the border of what I would deem to be okay here. And truthfully, this is kind of realistic. Sometimes you'll have the zoning change, and as soon as you change zoning in an area, it's not as though a developer just swoops in and redevelops. Sometimes you'll see that the zoning in a single family area is changed, and you can have a higher density building here, but the person that lives here doesn't want to move. So they stay there, and you still have that single family home in that area. That said, we've improved this, and we are going to go with that right there. Now, here is a concern. Our landfill is full. Our incineration plant is on the edge. And if you look at our recycling center, we're not in a good place there either. So what do? We need to start thinking about how to handle our garbage in a better way. So over here, if we look at our contours, it's honestly not that bad. There are some concerns that we're going to have here, but I think what we're going to do is reuse this intersection right here and head up and have a waste processing complex up there. We need to start thinking about the future in this community. And this would be something that Evergreen, truthfully, Evergreen would probably just have another landfill. Oh, as much as I don't want to do that, now that I'm saying it out loud, it almost makes me feel like I have to do it. Now I'm very curious, what are we looking at here in terms of our slope? We'll drop that down just a little bit. And yeah, we're going to have a little recycling and waste complex up here. This will serve the western half of the community right now. So we're going to pop through here. We're going to add another landfill. Oh, and we actually disabled zoning on our new roads. Forgot about that. So we'll need to get rid of that and then upgrade these. And now we should be able to add that landfill and our recycling center. And then for our power, we are going to jump our power again with our transformers. I absolutely love this asset. I think it's much better than our earthquake sensor. Look at that. We placed that there along the side of the road, and now we've jumped our power. We should be good to go. Feeling very good about what we've done. So with this, I want to see where we're at with our industry, because I feel like we are in a good place, but we could be even better. And really, this comes down to workers. As far as units, we've already done that. So we are in a very good place there. We could even start thinking about some of our unique factories. And that might be the last thing that I think about over here for today. Because right now, our little community is really thriving. I think that it's really in a good place. And let's look at the stats of this. So here's the town of Evergreen. Look at 30. Wow. It is really, the land values are really brutal here. We take a look, there's like a little node of value, and everywhere else is pretty challenging. And I'm guessing that part of that is the noise. Yeah, there's a lot of noise here. And there's also pollution. There's some. It's not as bad as I would have assumed that it could be. All right. So let's look at our factories and see what we have available to us, because that could be another thing to really boost things up here. So we have our furniture factory. We also have a bakery. That's not going to go here, though. If we do a bakery, it's going to be in our other community. So I think we're going to place our factory in here, and we're going to need to add a road to reorient this, or think about another location, which could be on the side of the highway over here. Wouldn't be the worst location. That might be it right there. So we'll upgrade this. And then I want to use the parallel road tool because we're not going to come in and just place that on the side of this road right here. This is an arterial. It's one of the most important arterials in the city. And in certain areas, it's already backing up. We're going to have to spend some time focusing on traffic soon because you already see that for a community this size, we shouldn't have this kind of traffic, but we do. So rather than make it worse, let's try to find a way to improve it. To do that, we'll add this parallel road here, tab it over, plus, 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 plus. So it's a frontage road. We'll go 25 meters. That seems reasonable. And then we are going to hit M so we can go in to move it. Slide this over just a bit. Control H to the height here. And then we're gonna picker this. And truthfully, I'm thinking that I should have probably carried this out just a bit further. So what we're gonna do is parallel some more. Capital City, as I hit enter, we've finally done it. That is huge for us. We get some of our university paths, universal education. Ships is what we really wanted. So we've got college campuses, we've got ships. We have our new water treatment plants, and apparently we could have an American football stadium if that's what we're into right now. So that is huge for us. We're gonna be absolutely thinking about that in the next one. But let's actually get this done, and I lost my, We'll just have a sharp turnaround there. It's fine. Not ideal, but it's fine. And then we're gonna come back through here and look at, we actually have printing press. That's not something that we could use right now, but we could build our furniture factory. We have everything available to us. We're gonna run that right along the side here. So you can see that that did not respect the topography. And I know that. We've got a plan. It's gonna be just fine. So I did this on purpose because I want to use a key wall here. I think it's gonna be a nice solution here. So we're gonna carve part of it out. Oh, trees still in our building. So we'll come through here and we are going to level part of this. Okay, so right here, there's some kind of weird stuff going on. So this is because the key wall is reversed. So we're just going to come through here and try to figure out which segment is reversed. I think it might, can't tell. I can't really tell. But I do see that we've got an extra node through there. So we'll just get rid of a node. It seems like it helped. Now I'm going to grab move it, M, Control H, line these up. And that seems like it helped some. And then I want to look in Node Controller and see if I can improve this at all. This is a trick that we learned in Clearwater County. Get that to be nice and tight, and it will look really, really sharp. There we go. Oh, goodness, I like that. Makes it feel more like a brick wall or something of that nature, which is what you'd expect this to be built up with. So back here now, I'm going to try to level this out. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good. That is really good. And we'll take our brush strength and really make this gentle here to demonstrate that a lot of terrain modification happened to make this pad what it is. We've left some room for future growth and expansion. And truthfully, we're probably going to use most of it for our warehousing anyway. So there we go. Now through here, I'm going to take this. We're going to make this unique factory goods, and I want this to empty. I don't want to keep any of these in the community. Now that angle, it is problematic. So I shouldn't have done what I did. So we are going to try to improve this. This heavy vehicle traffic back here is really struggling with this. They need a more sweeping turn. So we're just going to try to modify this to make it a little bit easier for the trucks. Okay, from a truck standpoint, that is much, much better. So now I'm going to add just a little bit of buffering along here. They're going to want to keep their site fairly visible. We should have parking here. We don't right now. That is something that should probably be a consideration. Maybe we'll add that in the future. Maybe we'll just go without it. No. We can't go without it. All right. I'm just going to upgrade this road right here. I'm trying to find the front door. It looks like that's over here. So I'll add in a couple of accessible stalls. Control X to unlock this, and apparently to spin it as well. And then we will add just a couple over here. Control X again, and we'll spin it. There we go. So that is a better solution. We'll move this over, and now we can have some landscaping along here. Break this up just a little bit with some young lindens. Here we go. I'm feeling really good about this. I think there would likely be some sort of stormwater aspect here as well, but sometimes you've just got to accept your wins as you have them. And I do think that right now we have a win. This place is looking a lot better. And I just clearly can't give it up. So if we look at this, I don't know why that's all funky, but we've got our timber and our paper that they need here, and they'll be able to make their furniture. We're going to crank this. We've got a lot of both of these. Whoa. Let's see what's happening here. We have that to balanced, so it should be taking the paper. Obviously, it would be much more efficient if all of these were right next to this, but this should be good enough. And we can be pleased with the way that this is turning out. I think that what we need to do is zoom in and have a brief city tour. And it feels good to be able to see the city at night without raging fires all over the place. It feels like maybe we haven't solved our problems entirely, but we've certainly moved in a good direction. No raging fires now. And that's what I care about. Let's pop out, and I just want to take one more look and see, do we have any big black spots? We do not. So we are in a good spot. We've met our next milestone, and that means a couple of things to us. We, in the next episode, are going to need to take a look at a few really interesting things that we can add to the community. We're starting to get ships. We've got a lot of ship options available to us. We've got our ferries, which we've had for a while. We've also got our cargo harbor, and soon we will have our cargo hub. So these are, again, more ways to get goods in and out of our community. We could also add in a cruise harbor if that's something we wanted to do. We even have enough money for it, so we're in a good spot financially, and I think our community is really beginning to take some life and become the type of place that more people would like to live in, myself included. I think we're gonna leave it here. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider hitting the like button. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.